Hello, my name is Jeremy Barnes, and today I'm going to do a review to What If Episode 5 Zombies. So, this was the Marvel Zombies episode. This is the one that I was personally waiting for in this season, just like the Halloween episode of WandaVision and the President Loki episode of Loki. And now that we've gotten it, I gotta say, it does not disappoint. So, I thought this episode was awesome from beginning to end. And I kind of suspected this at one point seeing the trailers, but it was nice to get confirmation that this episode is adapting Infinity War, which is like top three MCU movies for me. So that was awesome. Um, it was easily recognizable as Infinity War in the beginning, and I think even with the zombies twist and in animated form, Infinity War is still one of the best MCU movies. And this episode had it all for me. It had every single range of emotions that I like to feel in movies. It had emotional moments, it had action, it had humor, it had some heart, and a lot of surprises. So I was definitely happy with what we got in this episode. So now I'm going to go into my favorite parts of the episode. And one I mentioned briefly was like the intro where we got that Infinity War like backdrop. But I really liked how they also added a horror vibe to it, which I wasn't really expecting. Like I thought it would be zombies and it might be a little bit darker, but I didn't think it would be like full on horror. But it did. And it was really cool that we got to see that from Bruce Banner's perspective because he's kind of a funny character at this point in the MCU. And seeing his reaction to it was crazy. And we see Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian arrive on Earth like they do in Infinity War. And then a portal opens up and Iron Man's repulsor comes out of it. And at first it seems like it's just the Avengers as we know them. We soon find out after they defeat both of the Black Order members, then he and Doctor Strange and Wong start eating them. And then Banner's like, "What the hell? What is going on?" And that was hilarious, man. That whole review was crazy, especially when Van Dyne came in as the Wasp, and she had a bunch of wasps eat them alive, eat their zombie flesh until there was just bone left, and that part was insane as well. And when they showed the whole flashback of how the zombie outbreak started, I thought it was hilarious how Hank Pym fucked everything up even worse here than he did in episode 3 because he's the one that went to the quantum realm. And I think maybe in this episode, maybe Janet got some sort of virus when she met, like, and when she went to the place where they met, but she got it before he got there, so she got infected and became zombified, and then she bit him, and then they brought it back. So then we see the Avengers are gonna respond to this catastrophe, and then Captain America's gonna start giving like a one of those great speeches he does, and then as soon as he says his first word, he's like ah, and it's like something bit him on the neck, and it was Hank as a little like Ant-Man, and that shit was hilarious. I was like, no way. And then that's how all of the Avengers that were in that moment got infected, and they all became zombies. So we got zombie Cap, we got zombie Hawkeye, and then we got zombie Iron Man. And then when it cut to a like video camera footage type like movie thing, um, and then we saw like who it was. And it was Spider-Man. I thought that was really awesome because it was like a callback to the beginning of Homecoming, where it showed Peter on his trip with Tony Stark for the first time during the events of Civil War, and he was doing like a little documentary type thing. And in this one, it was a how to survive the zombie apocalypse like info guide, and I thought that was awesome, and it was hilarious because we saw Happy in a shirt that said he's not single, he's saving himself for Thor. I thought that was hilarious. And And it was really interesting and a fun choice that they had Kurt be one of the survivors here. Kurt from Ant-Man and the Wasp, those movies. The Russian dude played by David Dastmalchian, and he was pretending to be a zombie biting Happy, and then he sprayed ketchup on him to pretend like it was blood. And that whole bit was great. I think the way they animated it was perfect. And then we saw Bucky on the second step, and he was like taking a shower or something. That shit was hilarious. I know all the Bucky fangirls are gonna love that one. That was crazy. And then it was really cool how their base of operations was like a bunch of like vans or buses, and Spider-Man just like webbed them up in the sky because on the buildings the zombies can't like get between buildings. So that's the only place where they're unreachable by the zombies. So I thought that was really cool and smart. Another thing that I really liked about this episode was the gore. I wasn't sure how far they would go with that, but they actually like they show the blood and everything, and maybe they get away with it because it's zombies, like it's not people, and it's also animation, so they can kind of play around and make the blood like not red. It's like a bunch of other like icky, gooey colors. But either way, I'm just happy that they didn't shy away from showing the gore. And I think this really bodes well for shows like Moon Knight and the MCU Blade movie. I hope they do really push the line of PG-13 versus rated R. Um, it kind of sucks that the Blade movie won't be rated R. I think they already announced that. Only upcoming MCU movie that will be rated R still is Deadpool, which I'm happy they're at least doing that. But Blade would have been nice as well. But I think Moon Knight is in pretty good hands. I think it'll be good because even the Falcon and the Winter Soldier got pretty like brutal at times. So I hope that continues, and I think it will in Moon Knight. One of the specific moments that was really crazy to me in this episode of What If was the Bucky versus Cap, when Bucky throws the shield back at Cap, and it cuts him in half, and we see his body drop down. And then the same thing from the beginning when the Wasp shot Iron Man's head off, and we see his head fall off. Like that was crazy. Another one of my favorite moments in this episode was the interaction between Spider-Man and Hope after she went inside of Sharon Carter, because Sharon Carter was zombified by Cap and she was about to eat her, so she shrunk down and went in her mouth, and then she like expanded, obliterating Sharon's zombie form. But there was a cut in her suit, so because she was exposed to that, she was infected as well. So she was like on her deathbed basically, and they were talking, and Spider-Man was still like, he was still cheery, and she's like, man, how do you do that? And he tells her because out of all the people that we lost, if we don't find a way to smile today for them who cannot smile anymore, then what is even the point? And he mentions everybody that he's lost, which at this point in this universe includes Aunt May. So we have Aunt May, and this is the first time in the MCU that Spider-Man has referenced Uncle Ben as well by name. Like he's never said his name at all in the MCU. He did reference him in Spider-Man Homecoming, but it was like very vague, and he didn't ever say his name. And then the closest thing to a name drop was in Far From Home when Peter took BP Ben Parker's like little bag thing on his trip to Europe. But even then, like it was never actually spoken. Like he never said Uncle Ben or even Ben at all. Here he says it. So I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe Sony was restricting Marvel from saying Uncle Ben for some reason. Like it's a really weird thing to like restrict, especially like how specific it is. But because animation doesn't apply to the rules of Sony owning the rights to Spider-Man, so anything in animation is Disney, that belongs to Disney. They're able to just do whatever they want with him, and it wasn't Tom Holland voicing him. They got a voice actor for this, so they really could do anything they want with Spider-Man in this show. So maybe that's why this is the first time that we've heard him say Uncle Ben's name. But that speech like really encapsulates like what Spider-Man is and why he's so great. So I just love that scene as Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. And then the reveal right after that, after Wasp like sacrifices herself to get them over this huge herd of zombies. When Vision pops up out of nowhere, that part was kind of funny. But even more than that, when they get inside of the base, which is crazy that it was a base from Captain America's training days, and we return to both in the Winter Soldier and in Endgame, Camp Lehigh. The Wasp had like a bunch of the computers that we saw with Zola and Winter Soldier, and he was like, he found a way to like cure Scott Lang, who was there when like one of the first people that was exposed to the virus when Hank Pym came back, and I guess he was infected, like he did get bit by Hank, but somehow Vision was able to like save him, and all the only thing left is his head, and that shit was wild. I saw that in the trailer. I was like, what the fuck is going on in this show? This show is weird. But here it makes sense that it would be in this episode, the zombie episode, because a lot of times there are like things like that where we just have like a zombie head or something. Like I don't know. I'm thinking specifically in Black Ops 2 Zombies, where there's a game mode where you have Richtofen's head as a zombie and you would like throw it around and shit. I don't think it ever had made it to the game, but it was like a concept that we've seen footage of online. That's kind of what that reminded me of just now talking about it. And Scott was a great man. He was hilarious. He's always Allred is always great, and I'm so glad he returned to voice him in this. But even greater than that was the reveal that came after that, and I kind of like had a feeling with Vision when Bucky said he was gonna go look around for something. I don't even know what he was looking for, but Vision replies, he's like, "You're not gonna find what you're looking for," and the way he said it was very like ominous. And I was like, "Damn, is Vision a bad guy? Is he like gonna do something? Did he lure them here as a trap?" But then he doesn't stop him, so I was like, "Wait, I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe he's not." But then we do see Scarlet Witch, my babe. She's been zombified, and it's funny because Kurt was like, "The Baba Yaga is near," and Baba Yaga is like a witch and Wanda is the Scarlet Witch, and in zombie form, she really is like really creepy. And we see Bucky, he finds her there behind some like bulletproof and soundproof glass, which lucky for him because he shot at her, but she didn't hear it or anything, so she wasn't alerted. But he also finds Black Panther, who was also in that opening scene when the Avengers first go to deal with the zombie outbreak. So he was actually one of the survivors. But his leg has been like taken off, which is insane. And I heard that that was actually something that happened to T'Challa in the comics of Marvel Zombies as well. So that's a cool touch for comic fans. But the Scarlet Witch as Baba Yaga was crazy because we see after everybody else finds out, Okoye is like pissed that Vision didn't eliminate Wanda, and she like threatens him, and just like they are, they're always gonna protect the other. So that's when she gets triggered and she comes out. And the way that they really did that scene was awesome. I thought it really had an awesome horror vibe, looping it back around to the beginning. And it was intense. Like she is scary, man. Wanda's scary just by herself, but a zombified Wanda, like, oh man, I would not want to mess with that. And that whole sequence was great. And I like how the Hulk, his skin is too thick to pierce, so he's actually immune to zombie bites. But man, there were so many sacrifices in this episode. I think he stayed behind to sacrifice himself. Wasp stayed behind. Bucky stayed behind, and Wanda just threw his ass. Like he might be a survivor. Like I think he could have survived that because he is a super soldier. Unless he was bitten once he landed wherever the hell he landed. But I really want to see more of this story, man. And going off of that, my only complaint about the episode is the way they ended it. Like I feel it would have been a really satisfactory ending, not just because it would have been a happy ending, but just because it is like a full episode wrapped up and tied up in a bow, and they could always still continue it, but just ending it when they get like to Wakanda, when they're about to get to Wakanda and we see the sunset. If they would have ended it right there, I think it would have been perfect. But then they show that little cliffhanger where it shows Thanos as a zombie with 5 Infinity Stones already in Wakanda waiting for them. So that shit had a very like. At first, everything seemed like it's going good, but then nope, you're gonna be fucked now. So I didn't like that because it was just too big of a cliffhanger to kind of just throw it in out of nowhere because we didn't see Thanos really at all in the rest of the episodes, and then boom, he's just there and he's just a zombie. And he has the time stone, which in the original movie he gets when he faces Strange in space on Titan. But here, Strange never went to space, and he was already a zombie in the beginning of the episode. And he had the Eye of Agamotto necklace on in the beginning. We don't know for sure if it was actually in there. So, like, how did Thanos even get the time stone? Like, maybe he got it after the Wasp had all the Wasps eat his body alive. But in that case, I don't know why the Wasp wouldn't get the stone. Like, maybe I guess nobody knew about it, so they didn't like realize the power of it, and because they didn't know what it was, they just left it there. So maybe Thanos just picked it up when they left. I'm not sure. Yeah, but I don't know. That was just like crazy because something like that, you got to give us more right now, man. We can't wait a whole year for that because that story, I want to see the end of that, man. And yeah, and that was just like episode 2 where we had that ending with Peter Quill and Ego. And when I saw that, I was like, damn, I was excited for the continuation of that story. And these 2 episodes are definitely like 2 of my favorites. I think I might like I actually last week the Doctor Strange episode and the T'Challa Starlord episode are probably like kind of tied for me, I think, right now. At first, when I first saw it last week, I was thinking leaning more towards the Doctor Strange episode, but like now after multiple viewings of it and thinking about it more and more, I think I actually do like episode 2 better. But I'm like really positive that this Marvel Zombies episode is my favorite episode. Um, so I think we will have to wait for season 2 for some of these plot threads to be picked up again and continued. But who knows? Maybe they will continue something here because I was actually expecting to see Black Widow in this armor. I'm gonna show you a picture right here that we saw in the trailer. Like it was a really quick shot, but and then she's also in the poster too. So like she's got to be in this season, right? Because why would they put her in the poster if she's not in it? And it really seemed like it would be something fit for the zombies episode because it looks like a post-apocalyptic Black Widow with this like enhanced armor, and I don't know what other episode she would be in, because I think the only ones left are Party Thor, which I don't think Black Widow would really factor in. Gamora as like Thanos, or with his armor and probably like ruling over his territory or whatever, like he wanted her to. And then the last one is the Killmonger one where he meets Tony Stark. So I think maybe she could fit in there some way, but I don't know exactly how. Like, I don't know. I'm really curious to see about that. But I really thought she was going to be in this episode, and she was in that Avengers opening scene, but we don't ever see her again. Like, we saw T'Challa, who was a survivor. We don't see Black Widow as a zombie, nor do we see her again as a survivor. And the other 3 that we saw there were all zombies. So what happened to her? I don't know. Like maybe this is related to the Marvel Zombies, so maybe we will get another thing related to it in this season, but it's unclear at this moment. So I don't know, but I love this episode, man. This episode was amazing. The visuals, the humor, everything. Also, I just really like the design of Zombie Falcon, like a flying zombie. That's pretty scary, man. And like this boy was missing his whole arm, which was crazy. And there's a lot of cool shots. It was kind of cool how we had the Falcon and the Winter Soldier fight each other in this one, like they were best buds in the show. But now there's Zombie Falcon versus Survivor Bucky, and they were fighting each other. So that was crazy. But yeah, I love this episode. I'm excited for the rest of the season. And yeah, man, I can't wait. In the last episode that we have, the one where I think everything's all gonna come together and cross over, is Ultron with all 6 Infinity Stones. So I don't know how that's gonna factor in, but I can't wait to find out, man. So thank you for watching my video for What If Episode 5, What If Zombies, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.